relate to neurological conditions. Okay, so and we'll talk now about how certain neurotransmitters work at the synapse. Okay, so the first example we're going to talk about, I know you guys have touched on it, is Alzheimer's disease. Okay, so what is Alzheimer's disease again? Remind me. Haha. Okay, remind me. What is Alzheimer's disease? I forgot.
It's whenever you start like, I don't remember the actual cause. It's when you start losing your memory and like,
That one thing deteriorates, right?
So
Can't wait.
Exactly. Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. So it's an age-related neurodegenerative condition that principally targets medial temporal lobe structures such as the hippocampus, which is my favorite brain area, and we see degeneration of those neurons, and then patients usually present pretty late stage in the course of the disease with profound memory disruption, mood changes, things along those lines. So one of the areas that's been implicated in this disease also includes the basal forebrain. And acetylcholine is the neurotransmitter implicated in that system. So can you come stand here? This is a cholinergic neuron, okay? So what we think part of the problem with Alzheimer's disease is that acetylcholine is not able to stay at the synapse long enough to stimulate the next neuron. And we know that this neurotransmitter in this brain region is absolutely critical for the formation of memories. In addition to the hippocampus, they're both very intimately connected. And so one of our goals with medication is to try and increase the action of acetylcholine to stimulate the next neuron so that memories can be formed in the process. Okay, so one of the players that modulates the amount of acetylcholine that's available at the synapse is acetylcholinesterase. Now, acetylcholinesterase, please more. Okay, so you are the chief degradation enzyme of acetylcholine. Your job is to get rid of acetylcholine so we don't have too many memories forming and then remember every single little thing about every single moment of our entire lives, which would get pretty burdensome to keep track of. So your job is to try and get rid of the acetylcholine neurotransmitters. So it might help if we spread it just a little bit more, and maybe I will give you back your small receptors just for a second. So acetylcholinesterase, your job is to try and get rid of the acetylcholine neurotransmitters as much as you can. Okay? All right. So let's start with stimulating this neuron to start forming a memory. So anything that falls on the ground, just get it. And take it away. Oh. Okay, good. Okay, so you see that signals can still be sent, but it gets harder when there's something at the synapse trying to break down that neurotransmitter. So one of the very commonly prescribed medications for early Alzheimer's disease is an acetylcholinesterase inhibitor called donezepil. Okay, so when you are ingested, you come to the synapse and you make sure that acetylcholinesterase can't do its job. Okay, and what you do for our patient is you help our patient remember things. So if you could say, I remember, something like that. Okay. So let's signal this neuron again, and then you're going to be trying to get rid of this neurotransmitter, and donezepil, you are going to stop her. Okay.
Any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, no,
Stay away.
what's major depression? Can anybody tell me? Yeah, so there's a DSM.
Worst feeling you could ever have.
Exactly. Yeah. So
And you can't climb out of that hole.
sure. Yeah. So the DSM-4 definition is pretty complex. It's what we call a spectrum disorder, where there's a multitude of different symptoms that you could have. You can obviously be uncontrollably sad. There's also persistent feelings of guilt, something called anhedonia, which is sort of a loss of interest in enjoyable things. So I know whenever I'm feeling a little stressed out, cookies just don't taste quite as good to me as they normally do. Other enjoyable things like being with friends don't seem quite as rewarding, things like that. And so the consequences of this are pretty severe, and this is a very common condition, right? Probably 1 in 6 individuals will experience some kind of major depressive bout in the next year. So we got to do something about that, because the consequences, like I said, are pretty severe. People can't get out of bed, they can't enjoy their lives, and we got to fix that. So serotonin is, come on over to our synapse, thank you. Okay, you are acetylcholine, girl. Okay, so serotonin is the chief neurotransmitter that we think has been implicated in this condition. And we think that, like you eat turkey, right? It's synthesized from tryptophan, you get it from your diet, right? And then you feel happy after Thanksgiving dinner. So serotonin is called the happy neurotransmitter. Then we have the serotonin transporter. So this works kind of like acetylcholinesterase. It doesn't necessarily break serotonin apart, but what it does do is it takes serotonin out from the synapse and makes it so that it can't stimulate the receptors on the other side. So what I want you to do is come in here and just get in the way, kind of move these guys out, and like prevent the serotonin from really getting where it wants to be. And then you are our selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. Okay, so you're trying to bring it back to the other neuron, into the terminal button. You are going to stop. You get serotonin as it's being thrown, and you put it back in their bag and like get it out of the way, so it can't get to the. And then you get in the way of that. Okay, so like Prozac, things like that. Your job is to get in the way. Okay. Yes. Okay. You're getting in the way of the neurotransmitter doing its job. You're getting in the way of the transporter. Okay, all right. So patience.
Now we're like, I'm happy.
Start out sad. And then as our SSRI works, lift your spirits a little bit. Okay. All right.
How do I walk? I'm just making it more harder when I walk.
Back up there.
It's back.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you get hit.
You should have just taken me out.
Yeah,
Just,
you can't get in there. You want to try it again? You want to get? Let's try it again, all right? So, okay, we're gonna try one more time, right?
Peanuts are getting stuck.
And maybe SSRI, if you could give the serotonin transporter maybe a couple seconds to get some of this neurotransmitter back up into the preceding neuron, that would be good. Okay.
Oh, this kid just
take me out.
I'm very sorry.
You did literally the opposite of your job.
I know. I would have
Yeah. Okay, ready?
been
All right, patient, if you could be in a depressed mood. Okay?
He just pretends.
Okay. Serotonin transporter, yeah, put it back. Oh, man. Okay. All right, patient, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great.
Yay!
Yeah!
Okay, do you have any questions about how the neuron communicates within itself and how it communicates between next neurons and neurons?
No.
a great way of learning.
Yeah.